Hi everybody, this is Maureen Wong with YourNextStamp.com. Today I don't have a project for you, I have a little system that I'm going to show you. A long time ago when I was a scrapper, there was a series of templates where they had, well, this is one of them. It's a 3.5 inch square. You can see that it says 3.5 at the bottom, and it's called the Square 9. And what it was a whole bunch of different shapes and sizes that you would use to help you plan out your scrapbooking layouts. And I thought that this would make a really good system for my card making. But a lot of these pieces were actually too big for my card making, so I decided to make my own system. And specifically, I'm using Your Next Stamp product today. But of course you can use whatever you have. And then I also made strips. But let me start with this. I took the YNS stitch rectangle set and I cut them each out of this kind of sturdy plastic. And I went to my computer and I made little labels. You can see this one says YNS Stitched Rectangles number 8. And how I numbered it was I went from the smallest one is number 1 up to the biggest one, whatever that is. And it makes sense in my head that the smallest number would be the smallest shape. So I went and labeled them all. I printed that out on sticker paper and then cut it up and I stuck it on each one. And then I just have them all attached with a piece of washi tape. And then I went ahead and cut little strips. I cut them all 5.5 inches long, and you can also use them the other way. They'll just stick up above your card when you're planning. And I started at 1/2 inch and I went in 1/4 inch increments, so 3 3/4, 1, 1 1/4, 1 1/2, and I plan to take this up to I don't know, maybe like 3 inches or something wide, or even the full width of a card. And then the other thing that makes up my system is I have these cardstock templates because I think it's easier for the base to see the cardstock template rather than having a clear template. So I just went and I cut this A2 size, which is 4 1/4 by 5.5, and I labeled it in A2. And let me show you how I'm using this. And you might notice I have my MISTI out, and that just helps me. I have a nice corner to stick that into, and it will stay in that corner. So let me show you. I printed the Your Next Stamp Sketch Challenge number 25 out here. Please ignore my wonky printing. But what I'm going to do is show you how I'm going to lay this out. And what I'm going to do is I have a strip here, and then I know I have a rectangle here. And then the funny part is this shape here on the side. And I could use a strip just to get the width, and then I'd have to use something else to get the height. Or let me show you what I can do. And I already sized this, so I know I'm going to take out my stitch rectangles 4 and 5. And my 5 is going to be the bigger one. Hopefully you can see that here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. So I have my 5 here, and let me get back out that sketch so you can see it. And then I'm going to use my 4 sideways. And I'm going to put that here, and it's going to hang off the edge like that of the card. But what I can do is measure where exactly I want it, and then I can measure. I know I'm going to want the stitching lines is another reason why I use the stitch rectangles, because I want the stitching lines, and it doesn't matter if it goes off, because this side of the stitching lines for rectangle number 5 is going to be hidden underneath that rectangle. So I'm going to have not full stitch lines all the way around, but it's actually a look that I'm going for today. So what I'm going to do is cut the stitch rectangle number 5 and the stitch rectangle number 4, and if I don't want to, I don't have to cut the whole number 4 because I know I'm not using the whole thing. So I would measure this part and cut it down to whatever width that is, say it's like 1 inch. And then the other thing in the sketch is this strip behind here. So I'm going to take out the strips that I cut, and I'm going to find which one looks like the right size, and the 1 1/2 inch looks a little bit big, so I'm going to go to my 1 1/4 inch, and that actually looks like a really good size. And I don't have to put this behind because it's clear, so it just shows through. It's showing you how things layer. And then I'm going to figure out what I want to cut these all out of. So let's say I want white cardstock for my number 5, and then I want a pattern paper for my strip, and then a pattern paper for my rectangle number 4. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those all out, and I'm just going to leave this on my MISTI because I don't need any of these pieces while I'm cutting, because I have the dimensions. So I just go out and cut them, and then when I have my pieces, I'll bring them back and I'm going to lay them out on my card base just like this. And the other thing I can do is get my stamp set out, and this is Waddles Homemade with Love. And I can get my stamps out and position them on my piece, and I'm going to move that strip out of the way because I know that's in the back. And I'm going to put this Waddles Baking right here, and I'm going to get out the Sentiment Homemade with Love, and that fits really nicely up here. And then what I can do is when I'm ready to stamp, I can get my piece of white cardstock, and let's just say that this is it. I'm going to use the back. And I'm going to put that in the corner, and I'm going to lay this piece, my acetate, for rectangle number 5, right over where my rectangle number 5 would be cut out of cardstock. And I'm going to lower my MISTI cover, and that's actually going to pick up my stamps, and they are going to be exactly lined up where they need to be on that piece. So I don't have to try lining them up again because I already did the lining up. So what I do is just go through that with my whole card until it's all finished and put together. So I'm planning on making all of my YNS stacking dies in this hard plastic, and I'll give you links to everything, and my circles, and maybe my banners, things like that. And I'm going to label them all and keep them all together. And then of course I'm going to go through my collection and cut whatever else I think I want to. And then I'm going to have this great system that's going to help me plan cards. And I can either interpret sketches like I did today, or I can actually just use the pieces and make up my own layouts for my cards. So I will show you a storage system for this whole thing on another day, but I hope this helps you, and I hope maybe, you know, some of you will take my advice to heart and make yourselves your little template layout sets. And if you do, let me know how it's going, if it helps you to lay out your card layouts easier. But anyway, we hope to see you over at yournextstamp.com for these and many other fun products, and thank you very much for watching.